had him at the 4-yard line. Wow, the guts Coach Buzz has to go for it on that position of the field.
Welcome to Crown Point Stadium and welcome to Game Night, presented by CPTV Sports here on the Bulldog Network. I'm Gabe Trevino Braydon Zamojski. If you're a CP fan, stick around for additional pre-game coverage. We're heading up to just 1 hour bringing the entire Crown Point Southwest football game live at 7 p.m. on Marquee Sports Network, the home of the Chicago Cubs. Everything you'll see tonight is produced by the students of the radio and TV program at Crown Point High School. But right now, it's time to prep for tonight's game. We have a great matchup at stake tonight between the 5-0 Crown Point Bulldogs and the 1-4 Valpo Vikings. On tonight's show, we have legendary former Crown Point football head coach Brad Smith, who coached for 60 years from 1978 to 1994 and compiled a 167 record during that span, making him the winningest coach in CP football history and naming him a place in the Indiana Football Hall of Fame. Along with him, we will also have 1984 CP graduate Jeff Georges. Our second segment this past week, sophomore head coach Angie Richwalksi gave us an opportunity to talk to her about the state championship they won. And finally, we'll break down tonight's game, matchup, and keys to the game. So let's get started. We're grateful to have Jeff and Coach Smith who are walking on the set with us today. And welcome to Game Night. Braydon, good to have you, Coach Smith. Good to have you. Jeff, thank you for being on the show today, fellas.
Amazing to have you guys here with us.
Absolutely. So, guys, first question I have for both of you, since you guys played about 40 years ago now, how has the culture around Crown Point football changed in the last 40 years or so from 1984? Go ahead, Coach.
Well, this community, wonderful town, back in my era, the mantra was, what we have is good enough. We didn't have a weight room, we had to build our own. We had to go buy our own weights, raise money, had no money. This community and this corporation now says we want to be the best. We want the best for our kids. And so look at this. I mean, where Jeff played and where I coached, we practiced in the outfield of the baseball field. The freshman team had a 30 by 30 square to practice football. And with coaches like Scott Link and Tom May, what those guys accomplished in those meager facilities in the old school compared to what they have now, and you have the finest football staff in the state of Indiana here. So it shows.
Absolutely. It took somebody with the Crown Point. My mom and dad were teachers and administrators, and when I'm not saying they didn't have some good teams or good players in the 70s when I was coming up, growing up, but kind of up and down as far as results. When this man came, he knew there needed to be a culture change and took it upon himself to pull up the football program by the bootstraps.
So, Coach Smith, you talked about facilities, but I want to know, what are some of the other challenges you faced when you specifically became a coach in 1978?
Well, I had coached 5 years at Portage, and I was the defensive coordinator on the state champs. And so to show you that what Crown Point thought of football, they hired a 28-year-old man who had never been a head coach to coach this team. Luckily, they gave me a chance, but I knew what I wanted to do, and we opened the first game of the year against the defending state champs, my old school, and beat them in overtime.
Right.
So that was a big start. We struggled early a little bit, but what we did is, our first rule to my coaches was, don't make anything a negative. We have a small weight room. Somebody said, this place is a pit. Boom. We call it the power pit. We get strong in here, right?
I like that. I like that.
We had to, sometimes when it would be muddy, we would do our special teams work in a parking lot. And I'd say, hey, you're not going to get your shoes muddy. Go get your other shoes on and we'll go through kickoff team. So what we learned to do is be as positive as we could. And in our program, we had a freshman A team, a freshman B team, a sophomore team, a JV team, and a varsity team. And our rule is everybody has to play in the game every week. If we got 160 kids in a football helmet, they don't all sit around and not play. So that's why Coach Scott Blake was our freshman coach for years. He didn't care about wins and losses. He cared about fundamentals, getting kids ready to play, and then getting them all on the field.
Right.
We also had a rule in our lower levels. Nobody could play both ways in the same quarter. So if you were a fullback linebacker, for example, okay, you play fullback in the first quarter, then you have to play linebacker in the second quarter. That way, two fullbacks get to play. So we developed a lot of depth, and it caught on, and we had a lot of help from parents and from the community. And little by little, we got to where Jeff's team went 7-3. In 1983, which, believe it or not, that'd be a horrible year now.
Yeah, right.
Until the Z out of town if you go 7-3. But that was the second best record in the history of Crown Point football. The next year we were wound up 10-0, got beat by Hobart in the regional, and then it rolled.
Right.
But so his team is the one that showed that Crown Point can win big games, and then it became a pattern that we win and win and win. And there've been a couple lulls since I left. I was AD until they voted down the building project on this ground, and so I was offered a job at Highland, and I took that instead and moved on.
About your playing days, do you think your 1984 self could compete against any?
No, I saw the size of these guys. I don't think we had 5 guys over 200 pounds.
No, probably not. Probably not.
Either my junior or senior year. We were definitely playing line, not tight end or carrying the ball or anything like that. I think our offensive line, my junior year, might have averaged 175 pounds.
Maybe, yes. Yeah. But we were quick.
Yes.
We were quick.
Yes.
Had to be.
Got a little bigger our senior year.
Yeah.
So, Coach, during your tenure here, the Dogs moved conferences. After the collapse of the Lake Suburban Conference, they moved to the Duneland Athletic. What was that move like for an entire high school?
Well, you know what? It was interesting because anytime that you go through a move like that, it takes time to acclimate to it. I was student teaching at LaPorte when LaPorte left the South Bend Conference and came over this way. And the people of LaPorte were just adamantly against it. Now you can see why. They're not doing really well, but at the time they were competitive. We tried to embrace it. I know Tom May embraced it. Scott Blink embraced it. We're not saying, hey, we belong here. And Lake Central and Elmer Britton, we belong here. And so we jumped in. That year, we were 4-6. Our first year of Duneland, we were 4-6. Upset the number 4 team in the state.
Wow.
All right. The same night that LaPorte beat Hobart.
Okay.
To break Hobart's streak. Hobart was number 1 in the state. Portage was number 4.
Okay.
We beat Portage. LaPorte beat Hobart in the same night. So it seemed like the place to be. And once our fans got used to driving to LaPorte, Michigan City once in a while, we played Portage all the time anyway. We played Maryville, you know. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't as bad. And by now, there's no memory of the old conference.
No.
And this school, I told you, we're
Lake
talking.
Suburban Conference.
I got the job in 78, 1,400 students in the school. I left in 96, 1,800 students in the school. Now you guys are telling me 3,400 students?
Yeah, almost doubled.
Almost doubled. You could not play in the conference that we used to play in. In those days, we were all, Highland was bigger than us. Munster was bigger than Crown Point. That's all changed now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the DAC, there's been a lot of talk for both of you. The DAC has been soft. Crown Point doesn't play any teams. They get to the playoffs. They get blown out by Indy teams. And it seems to be a hamster wheel. It seems to happen every year. Do you guys agree with the notion that maybe the DAC is soft?
I don't think it's soft. I think it doesn't have the same kind of talent that you see in metropolitan Indianapolis. And let's face it, if you're Buzz, I know what Buzz is thinking about. He's thinking about, how can I beat Carmel? How can I beat Westfield? Those guys play each other all the time. Now, you could do what Carmel and Center Grove did, get kicked out of their conference and have to play all over the country. Well, now they've decided they want those crowds back in their stadium, so they've brought them back in. Where you are is like you're the isolated power school right now in the region. You play who you play. Now, if you're a basketball coach, you can talk to your AD and get a whole bunch of games all over the state. But in football, unless you want to go independent, and as an old AD, you talk to Coach Derula, no AD wants to have an independent football team where you're looking all over the place for games. So I think you got to live with it and do the best you can. I know what Buzz does in the summer, he really scrimmages up. He goes over in Illinois and they play the best they can get over there. So that's about all you can do.
Yeah, I noticed they scrimmaged Lincoln Way East this summer, who was the #1 in Illinois.
Yes, exactly. So that's, I mean, so again, you don't make it a negative. This is our conference. We're supposed to win it. Let's go show them. Don't disappoint them. Beat them up. We're supposed to beat them. Get ready, and then in the off season is where you prepare your team to get better competition.
Yeah, so Jeff, I know Gabe asked you about your playing days. I kind of want to look into your student athlete days. You were student council president your senior year. What was it like trying to manage school sports and then an important role like that?
It was a lot of fun. Occasionally needed to ask this man how to do these quadratic equations to get me ready for the SAT and the ACT, but just a lot of fun. Or football or baseball. Just loved high school and those relationships. You know, it wasn't always about the wins and the losses. It was about the camaraderie and making lifelong friends. Whether I'm still in touch with a lot of my football and baseball teammates, yes, some. But we had a reunion just a couple months ago at Bulldog Park, all classes. Plenty of folks that I haven't, like we hadn't seen each other, like we had seen each other just yesterday. It was wonderful making those relationships with my fellow students and certainly the coaches that dedicated so much time. When you're in high school, you don't really realize how much time and effort and energy coaches like Brad Smith and Bill Brissett and Scott Blank and all of our football coaches put forth. We just thought that's part of the game, right? But you become a parent, you coach Little League, you coach basketball at St. Mary's. Even that's a bit time demanding, and it's probably only gotten more so with the coaches as the states get bigger. So.
Yeah.
We asked our last guest a few weeks ago when we played Maryville here, when do we think a state championship is going to come to Crown Point? They said they think relatively soon. I believe they said in the next 5 years.
They said in the next 3 years. They think that.
Do you guys believe a state championship's coming here soon?
I do. What else could you do? You have the best coach in the state of Indiana with the best staff.
Right.
You have as good of facilities as there is.
Right.
You've got a buy-in from this community. It's like crazy. Keep playing. Keep working hard this summer. Work hard in the weight room. You got the formula here. You got to have athletes.
Right.
The portal isn't going to get to the high school, but I got to tell you, and everybody knows this now, you can virtually transfer once.
Yeah, the new rule that was introduced.
You're going to see Crown Point be a destination school. I believe your quarterback from a year or so ago was an Ober quarterback, wound up over here.
Yes, he was.
I think you're going to see people that have outstanding athletes be attracted to being here. My grandson is a starter at Terre Haute South. I'm missing his game tonight to be here, and that's okay. I'm glad to be here. I wish he played here because he would get more exposure, better coaching, and all in all, it would be better for him. So I think I can see anytime. It wouldn't surprise me if it happened next year. Anytime they're going to be in the mix, and they're known statewide now. This program is known as a power in the state. The only negative is they don't get to play those teams in the Indianapolis area that gets them ready. But again, Buzz does all he can.
Right.
Couldn't do better.
Yeah, I think they'll break through eventually. It just takes one game, and the atmosphere out here against Westfield 2 years ago was outstanding, and eventually it'll happen.
Now, one last question for you guys. We're here tonight. Bulldogs versus Vikings. Who do you guys got?
I'll take Crown Point 38-6.
As much as Crown Point wants, I think it'll be a breakout game for them. They're at the point now where they want to really fine-tune for sectionals. So I think Buzz will have this defense coming at people like they do, and I think the offense will keep moving the football. We'll see what Valpo can do. Valpo's going to have a tough night.
Thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate it. Coming up next after this break, a conversation with the state championship girls softball team right here on Game Night.
Generations of family, faith, and community are at the heart of Dutch Farms. Based in Chicago for nearly 40 years, we work hard to bring you a full line of fresh, high-quality products fast. Like eggs that go from farm to shelf in 24 to 48 hours. That's freshness you can trust. And it's all part of our family tradition of quality.
Some see a start to a swim meet. We see the starting blocks for life. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
Presented by the Bulldog Network. State championships never come easy, and last season the girls softball team's amazing run through the postseason was no exception. The team will be awarded their state championship rings tonight, and this past week I had a chance to sit down with head coach Angie Richwalksi and returning players Evie Cuevas and Starlet Tegman and hear for myself just what the journey was like. Coach, thank you for doing this. First, I'd want to ask you, when you get to the mountaintop like you guys did last season, it's always a quick turnaround. You guys don't finish the season until mid-June. You guys are right back at it next month. How does your team handle that quick turnaround?
Yeah, it's real quick. It turns into a longer season by almost a month, so we're out here again already. I haven't even finished up some of the stuff from last season. We still have uniforms out and things going on, but you wouldn't have it any other way, right?
Talk to me about your playing days. You played at Lake Central. You won state as a sophomore. You got a .26 ERA your senior year. I mean, that's incredible. Can you compare the joy of winning as a coach and winning as a player?
They don't really compare. Nothing compares to winning it as a player. Winning it as a coach is super cool, but there's nothing like winning it as a player. As proud of myself as I am and being part of what got them there, I'm just really, really happy.
I want to ask about your coach first. What has she built here in terms of culture as a team?
She does things to help us work together as a team. After a tough game that we had that didn't quite go our way, but we still ended up winning, she made up some games and got us together to do like fun team bonding. So
yeah, I feel like she does pretty good with like pregame like hype and like to get us like going throughout like our season, and we do like a good job of like coming together as a team, and we all like love each other so much, and it's such like a good like environment to be in and such like a good place.
What was your favorite memory besides state championship, because I know that's up there? What was your favorite memory from last year?
My favorite memory was probably when we left the state game for the first time after it got rained out, and we got escorted back to the school, and just being like surrounded by all the people cheering us on, and just being able to see like how much of the community like was cheering us on. And it was also like an unreal experience to realize like how far we've come.
So you're an Indian by birth, but a Bulldog by career.
Yep.
You played at Lake Central, then you go into playoffs, you beat Lake Central. Was there any kind of mixed emotion there beating Lake Central?
Of course, you know, the Lake Central's coach is actually a girl that I played with when I was there. And there were people in the audience that were in the audience for me when I was still there. So it was very mixed emotions, but you know, you're proud of it either way. And it's crazy to have done and be on both sides of it. But you know, it was just such a good game.
Well, Coach, I thank you for your time. You have 6 months until the defense of your title begins in March. It's going to be a long road there. It's going to be a long road during the season. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thanks.
Class 4A softball state champions, the Crown Point Bulldogs.
After our final timeout, we'll break down tonight's matchup and give you a piece of the game. Keep it here on Game Night.
At Crown Point High School, we are a connected community. The larger we grow, the stronger we become, because at our core are values that guide us.
What does it mean to be part of our Bulldog community?
It means courage, facing adversity head on, leading with grit, and knowing that every setback is a step forward.
Crown Point taught me not to be afraid to try something new.
It means creativity, from center stage to classroom labs. It is where passion meets purpose and innovation takes shape. Bulldogs bring ideas to life. It means citizenship, giving back, lifting others, building a stronger community together.
Our students learn that leadership begins with service.
It means culture, every story, every background, every voice, adding to our shared experience. It means being future ready, with more than 20 career pathways, 60 dual credit and AP courses, and preparation for college, career, or service.
I know Crown Point is helping me get where I want to go.
And through it all, we stay connected. With more than 75 clubs, sports, and activities, there's a place for everyone. Every classroom, every activity, every team. Woven together into one community. Crown Point High School, where the heart of a Bulldog stays with you, ready to take on the world. Connected at our core.
The game night here on the Bulldog Network. Time to break down tonight's game. A few keys going into this game. The Dogs' two-quarterback system has to be efficient. Defensive backs have to play better, and the size advantage in the trenches. For the Vikings, they must throw the ball and test Biasi and Cavalcante, and they got to start early, as we saw in that Maryville game, Braydon. Let's start with the two-quarterback system. They have to be efficient. We saw last week, Cooper Mulaski didn't get a lot of play time, if at all, at quarterback. Tice Custody, Chase Horton came in a little bit. They have to be efficient.
Yeah, no, what I'll tell you, you were right. Cooper did not play at all last week against Portage, and I'm not looking at it as a problem, right? I think that Tice Custody has played better football through the first 5 weeks of the season, and so I don't think it's terrible. I mean, we saw when we did this show a couple weeks ago that Coach Bazia said Chase Horton's a wild card. We're not throwing out a three-quarterback system here. So, I mean, I think it's okay that Chase Horton came in, played good football, and we could see that here again tonight against a pretty weak Valpo team.
Absolutely. I think this would be a game, with all due respect to Valparaiso, this could be a game where we see all three quarterbacks in the game. We could see Cooper Mulaski, we could see Chase Horton, we could see Tice Custody all in the same game. I'm really excited. We haven't seen Chase Horton yet. Us too. We haven't seen him yet. I am really excited to see him play.
I will say I saw him against LC. He came in for about 2 plays, but I haven't seen a multitude of Chase Horton, which I'm very excited to see.
So the other story of the game, big story of the game, is the defensive backs for Crown Point. They were, I mean, let's be honest, awful against the Pirates in the second half. The Pirates were doing anything they wanted in the passing game. They have to be better. Biasi and Cavalcante, Van Tischel and Fenton, I think we can say they're doing their job well, but Biasi and Cavalcante got to be better.
Yeah, and I think it's the speed off the line. I mean, we saw it against Maryville. They were getting beat deep because their first couple sets weren't where they needed to be. And I think against a team, right, you have Loving, you have Bernard over on Valpo's side. This could be a problem for Crown Point.
And we saw, again, in that second half, all we were saying in the second half was, what if? What if Maryville passed in the first half? Again, they were getting anything they wanted in the second half, just throwing over Biasi, Cavalcante. Even they were being fanny sometimes over the middle. they were getting anything they wanted. So I think the key for Valpo transitioning to them is to throw the ball early and get off to an early start. I think the way to beat this Bulldogs team is to get off to an early start.
Yeah, and I don't think, we're talking about stretching the field, but I don't think you have to stretch the field. I think even throws over the middle, little short out routes, stuff like that open up the passing game, especially open up the passing game for your running game, because let's be honest, this Cowboy defense is built for the run.
Absolutely. And then one more key to the game. We had Austin Reading out a few weeks ago. He's going to play tonight. Trevor Gibbs sustained a foot injury. He injured his foot over the summer. He was in a boot this week. He's going to play tonight as well. Amir Plowden was off the team. He's back on the team. He's going to work his way up the depth chart. Do you think any injuries, any kind of, maybe questionable, is there any questions here tonight for Crown Point?
I don't think so. I'm looking at these teams warming up behind this right in front of us, and there's a size advantage, right? Looking over at Crown Point and looking over at Valpo, it's two different teams. And I think the size, both in the trenches and just in the running back room, I think we talked about Braydon Scott a lot. I think he's going to power through this Valpo D-line. And I think Gurnick, I think Nolan Cicero is going to be a problem tonight for the Vikings.
6'5", 305 pounds is Nolan Cicero. We saw the Vikings come out, as you said, and most of the first guys that came out with their skill positions, we were talking to Coach Smith. Yeah, it's their skill positions, but compared to our skill positions, Trevor Gibbs, Logan Urban, they're a lot bigger than these guys. And then you look at the trenches, some of the trenches guys came out, offensive line. There's a definite size advantage in the trenches there.
Yeah, and I don't think size is all that important. Looking right here, Connor Conte, 5'10", 230 is our starting center, right? So obviously, normally you want a guy that's around 6'4", 6'5", as your center. Connor Cavalcante is not that, but he has the skill, and I just don't think, from what I've seen at a 1-4 Valpo team, that they have that skill.
And that's another thing. These Vikings, it's been a rough year for them. It's been one of the rougher years for the Vikings so far this football season. They're 1-4. Their only win, and their only win in the conference, was against the LaPorte Slicers. So these Bulldogs play next week, who might be the worst team in the conference. They beat them 28-0.
They did beat Lake Central, but I will say Brad Smith, when we had him, said that this was the worst Valpo team in almost 20 years.
Absolutely. Coach Smith and Jeff Georges, we thank them for their time, of course. That's going to do it for game night, but stick around as we head up to the booth and prepare to bring you all the action of tonight's game between the Crown Point Bulldogs and the Valparaiso Vikings, starting in about 15 minutes. We'll be up in the booth on Marquee Sports Network's Community Showcase. Keep it right here on Game Night.